This video could contain spoilers, so sit down, get comfortable, and it's time to have a talk about the DCEU, why it's happening and what to expect, and Ray Fisher attacks James Gunn. After that, we're digging into James Gunn's tease about the first superhero TV show, Dwayne Johnson's admission to defeat after the DC superhero debacle, and more. Curious? Stay tuned. But first, the DCU reboot, why it's happening and what to expect. There's nothing to be done. The DCU, formerly known as the DCEU, is getting a reboot, even though the Marvel Cinematic Universe was much older at the time, even having released 2012's The Avengers about a year before Man of Steel came out. Zack Snyder heroically set a creative direction for future projects. Of course, Snyder also ultimately left the project back in 2016, which was when Joss Whedon came to the rescue and finished the theatrical cut of Justice League. Justice League ended up becoming one of the biggest critical failures for the DCEU, from which Snyder in time massively benefited when he released Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2021. All of this to say, maybe it's not such a bad idea to give this whole DCEU reboot thing a shot and start with a clean slate, given the fact that this isn't even half of what's been going on with the DCEU. Whether you agree with it or not, that's exactly what James Gunn and Peter Safran have concocted now that they've taken the reins at DC Studios. While it hasn't all been bad, there is a definite lack of cohesiveness in the DCEU. Just in the last 2 years, we've seen two completely different Suicide Squad movies, only a few years apart from each other, and there is a huge tonal difference in all the DCEU movies. Wonder Woman, Shazam, Black Adam, and Aquaman are all extremely distinct from each other. Maybe the intentions were once in the right place. The DCEU is a mess, and it's just time to give these characters what they deserve, don't you think? Next, DC. Ray Fisher attacks James Gunn. It was always clear that if the newly dubbed DC Universe wanted to truly build a cinematic universe, they would have to find themselves their own Kevin Feige, a person who has a clear vision of the future of the DCU and is able to stand at the helm of it all. There's a reason they say be careful what you wish for, because now we've got Peter Safran and James Gunn at the helm of the DCU, and things are changing. And how? But the changes in the DCU aren't the only thing that has been a cause for some concern amongst fans. It seems like past tweets of Gunn are once again haunting his present life. We're all aware that Gunn is not afraid to say what's on his mind on all social media, and it's not exactly something he's only recently started doing. Back in 2017, when Justice League came out and it bombed in the box office, many things about what had been going on backstage were still coming out. This was also the time that actors like Gal Gadot and Ray Fisher came out and addressed the toxic behavior of director Joss Whedon. Many people choose sides, and in a way, Gunn supported those who were on Whedon's side and who had written articles questioning Whedon. Fisher went off on Twitter on Gunn over having deleted tweets about Whedon, saying, "The way James Gunn uses fake grace on Twitter is really funny. Him going to bat for Joss Whedon, pseudo-apologizing for it, and then deleting it immediately before taking his new DC job is not." 3 hours after Fisher's accusations, Gunn responded to him, clarifying that the deletion of his tweets had nothing to do with Fisher. Following, James Gunn teases the first superhero TV show. It's official. DC Studios co-CEO has just hinted that his first official TV show within the DC universe is actually in the early stages of development. It's clear that Gunn and his partner, Peter Safran, are currently very busy developing the plan for the next era of the DCU, making moves to start over with a clean slate in the coming years. While most of the focus has been on what theatrical movies will be included in this long-term slate, there are also new projects on the streaming side for the DCU as well. As far as we know, there are still a few shows in development for HBO Max, including Gunn's own show, Peacemaker, Season 2, and of course Matt Reeves' The Penguin spinoff, neither of which have any changes in management confirmed. And now Gunn has revealed in a recent update on Twitter that he's already completed part of the writing for the first newly announced TV show that is coming to the DC universe. Unfortunately, Gunn did not indicate which hero or villain is supposed to be featured in this upcoming show, but he did note that his new slate of projects has already been set in motion after writing the first third of the mystery series. Gunn added that he'd also have several major DC meetings and some post-production on Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You can say a lot of things about Gunn, but you can't say that he lets a lot of time go to waste. Hold up, there's more to come. Next, Dwayne Johnson admits defeat after the DC superhero debacle. How long will the DC slate be? And Colin Farrell confirms the production start date and shoot length length of the Batman spin-off, The Penguin. Make sure to keep watching until the end of the video to get all the details. Now, let's continue. First up, Dwayne Johnson admits defeat after DC superhero debacle. In October 2022, Black Adam was finally released to theaters after years of delays, and the timing really could not have been worse, because only weeks after its release, the entire state of the DCU was changed inside and out. And on top of those changes, under the new CEOs, Peter Safran and James Gunn, reports have started to come out that share some uncomfortable incidents that happened between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the former heads at Warner Bros. Before the changes had even happened. Apparently, Johnson went all the way to the top in an effort to get the green light on a multi-year plan, featuring himself and Henry Cavill's Superman, while at the same time demanding more in return for his efforts thus far in building the story. All this came on top of the movie's underwhelming performance, making it a particularly trying challenge to move forward with new stories focused solely on his character. And now Warner Bros. Is preparing for its 2023 DC movie slate. Johnson has taken to Twitter to share a rather cryptic message about his current situation. In a 90-second video, The Rock hints at what happened between him and the studio as his time with the DC Universe came to an end. Johnson also talks about the importance of not being afraid to fail, endorsing the idea of having the guts to fail, that Inky Johnson, a motivational speaker, has publicly encouraged. According to the actor, it all ties into the studio rejecting his plan to lead a new era of DC superheroes with Black Adam close to the forefront. But at the end of the day, Johnson has not lost his courage to fail, and that's all that matters. Next, how long would the DC slate be? The first hints about what's in store for fans for the new era of the DC Universe have started to come out, so fans should start preparing to learn what Warner Bros. And DC Studios co-CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran have been cooking up behind closed doors. With all the rumors that have been floating around, it can all be a bit overwhelming to try and figure out what is true and what is just speculation, and many have taken it upon themselves to spread the news that the slate that will make everything all right again in the DCU is only 3 years, as opposed to the 10 years that had been going around previously. So when a fan asked Gunn on Twitter whether there is any truth to a recent report by Variety, Gunn responded that their projected slate stretches out into the next 8 to 10 years. Of that slate, it seems like the younger Clark Kent / Superman focused series will be the very first thing to come to fruition. But Gunn has also hinted at a possible future for heroes such as Batman and Green Lantern, while also making sure to make mentions of villains like Slade Wilson's Deathstroke. The switch in leadership could have been handled a little more tenderly, but at the very least, it seems clear that both Safran and Gunn have a deep love for the characters that they have been put in charge of. Now all there's left to do is wait and see if they can make worth on their promises. Do you think they can make it all work? And lastly, Colin Farrell confirms the production start date and shoot length of the Batman spin-off, The Penguin. The Batman universe is set to expand onto the small screen with The Penguin, an upcoming series starring Colin Farrell as Oswald Oz Cobblepot, better known as The Penguin. Farrell followed the news up by reiterating some earlier teases by confirming when the Penguin TV series is supposed to start production and how long they will be shooting for. According to the actor, they're starting production in February 2023, and it'll take about 5 or 6 months to shoot. The production timeline is important for the Batman fans who have been following the news surrounding the spin-off closely. And now that we know that The Penguin will probably be in production from spring through summer 2023, the only question that remains is how much time they'll need in post-production, as this will greatly affect where it will likely end up on the release schedule. With the projection that Farrell has given us, it looks likely that The Penguin could be positioned for the end of 2023. But HBO Max already has a pretty dense lineup for 2023, including some big returning series such as The Gilded Age and Curb Your Enthusiasm, and some highly anticipated new series like The Last of Us. It seems much more likely that The Penguin will be pushed into 2024, regardless of whether the series needs that much time in post or not. All in all, we have a lot to look forward to, both in the near and far future, don't you think? And with that, that's a wrap on this video. Do you think it's a good idea to reboot the DC Universe? Let us know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.